Hello everybody, welcome back to another video on the channel of Mr. Footballer Loons, and today I'm doing Game Week 17 predictions of the Premier League, and I'm going to be starting off on the 15th of December. It is Nottingham Forest at the City Ground facing Tottenham Hotspur, and well, Tottenham Hotspur got a really good win, a much-needed win, winning 4-1 against Newcastle United. Richarlison somehow getting goals. The front four was fantastic. Heung-min Son, Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson and Richarlison the goal scorer. In fact, Richarlison could have had more goals in that game, more than 2. You know, he missed loads of sitters. But maybe Richarlison is the man in that number 9. But on the other hand, Nottingham Forest drew 1-1 against Wolverhampton Wanderers. They played okay against Wolves, and I think it's a must-needed point for Nottingham Forest considering how bad they played against Fulham. And the fans really do support Steve Cooper, and I'm also going to support Steve Cooper. I think he is still the manager to keep Nottingham Forest up. I think he's a great manager still, despite the results. And I feel like because Nottingham Forest are at home, yes, overall results haven't gone their way. I feel like they could pick up a point, considering Tottenham still have a lot of injuries, considering they're not on fantastic form before the Newcastle win. I feel like they will get at least a point, Nottingham Forest, in this game. I feel like they're going to be fighting, and Steve Cooper's going to come up with a masterclass. And I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw come the final whistle. Moving on to the next game, it's a whole new day as well. It's the 16th of December. It's at the Vitality Stadium. It's AFC Bournemouth versus Luton Town. And well, you know, at the start of the season, I would say these two teams, you know, are in a relegation battle. This is a huge game. But now AFC Bournemouth, they're cooking. They are cooking like anything. Iriola, it's clicked. The tactics has clicked. And finally, Bournemouth are picking up win after win, winning 3-0 against Manchester United. Not just a simple win, absolutely battering Manchester United. And they are obviously the favourites coming into this game. But Luton Town, they're still playing fantastic. Ross Barkley is a superhuman. He's fantastic for Luton Town. His skill, his dribbling, his vision, fantastic. And Luton Town have fight. They defended against Manchester City. They had a clean sheet for quite a bit of the game against Manchester City. It was only 2-1, and I believe 11 out of their last 13 games, Luton Town have kept the results with a 1-goal margin, and that's fantastic. So this, I feel like, will be a close game. Bournemouth will dominate, and because of home advantage, because of how good Bournemouth are doing, I'm just going to keep their form going, and I'm going to predict a Bournemouth win, and I'm going for a 2-1 AFC Bournemouth win. Moving on to the next game, it's at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea versus Sheffield United. And well, this game is a crucial game for Chelsea. They lost their last game 2-0 against Everton. And well, overall, they did create chances. They do create chances against Everton, but they find it hard to finish their beans. You know, they didn't score any in the last game, and they have struggled with that pretty much throughout the whole season. They did go on a run not too long ago of scoring goals, but now it's kind of gone back to reality, and they're starting to have that struggle again where they can't finish their beans. They're creating the chances, just cannot finish their beans. They do not have that striker. I believe Christopher Nkunku's still injured apparently. They've also got loads of other injuries. I won't list them all because there's so many. And Chelsea aren't in a really good position, and they're facing Sheffield United, which shown fight against Brentford. Can I say that's a completely different Sheffield United what I saw. Chris Wilder, fantastic, completely changed everything at Sheffield United. You know, when I saw Sheffield United play against Liverpool, that also looked like a different Sheffield United. It was a hard game, and they lost it, but they still played well. And then against Brentford, what a masterclass performance. 1-0, McAtee, what a goal. Very close to being goal of game week 16, but it wasn't quite for me. I'll get onto that later on in the video. But overall, Sheffield United, usually in the past, they have let a lot of teams have space, but this time they pressed. You know, they were in it. They are on. Sheffield United are improving, and this could easily be a draw coming into this game. But I'm going to believe in Chelsea. That yes, they're inconsistent and everything, but I feel like, because they've had 2 losses in the last game, things are going to change. Pochettino's a good enough manager, and it's going to be a win to Chelsea. And I'm going for a 2-0 win, although I wouldn't be surprised for a draw. Moving on to the next game, it's at the Etihad Stadium. It's Manchester City versus Crystal Palace. And well, Manchester City, I believe Erling Haaland's injured coming into this game. I believe he'll still be injured. Jeremy Doku may be available. I know Kevin De Bruyne's going to be injured for a bit more. So that's a huge player, Erling Haaland injured. And overall, Man City haven't been looking amazing in recent time, considering Manchester City's expectations. They only just about got a win over Luton Town. You know, before that, they didn't get a win for 4 games. On the other hand, Crystal Palace, you know what? I felt like they deserved a draw against Liverpool. I thought they deserved a draw in that game. They have no Jordan Ayew. Eze's injured On top of all that, I believe Edouard's also injured, and they've got abundant more injuries. On top of, I believe Sam Johnson, their goalkeeper, injured. The other goalkeeper, Dean Henderson, which they got in the summer, is also injured. They've got a lot of injuries. They're not on the greatest of forms, even though I thought they deserved a point in the last game. And you know what, going against City, even with City not being on fantastic form, with Haaland injured, I feel like City will get this over the line. I'm only just about going to go City because of recent form. I'm going to go 1-0 to Manchester City come the final whistle. Moving on to the next game is at St James's Park. It's Newcastle United versus Fulham. And, well, Newcastle United, they're on 0% battery. They are not looking good at the moment. Losing 4-1 against Tottenham Hotspur. Losing 3-0 against Everton. Injury after injury. Kieran Trippier isn't going to be available going into this game because I believe he has a suspension because of 5 yellow cards. So, you know what? It might be a good thing for Kieran Trippier to just recuperate himself after he has been making a few mistakes. But so has a lot of the Newcastle United players on top of that because they just look fatigued. They look all ran out. And I think that's probably the main reason, if that the only reason why Newcastle aren't performing as well. And on top of all that, because there's been a lot of games in a row in the Premier League, they've also got a Champions League game against AC Milan. And then they're playing on the weekend, so they've got a lot of games. They're going to be fatigued. I don't feel like they're going to win this. As a Newcastle fan, it seems very hard saying that we're not going to win this, because Fulham, they're on form. Raul Jimenez is scoring. William, fantastic. And can I say, goal of game week 16 was not Mikati. It was Harry Wilson. A very similar goal, but he was slightly further away from the goal, so he just about goes in goal of game week 16. A fantastic goal, can I say. Let's stop talking about the goal there. And well, Fulham 5-0, then 5-0. What? Like 5-0 against Nottingham Forest, sure. Then 5-0 against West Ham United. That just doesn't make any sense. Fulham, Marcus Silva's doing fantastic. They're not going to lose this. And I'm just going to play it safe, sit on the fence, and go for a draw. But Newcastle have conceded, I think, 7 goals in the last 2 games. So I'm going for a high-scoring draw. I'm going to go for a 3-3 draw come the final whistle. And moving on to the next game, it is at Turf Moor. It's Burnley versus Everton. And well, Burnley got a must-needed point against Brighton and Hove Albion. I don't think they deserved it massively. They weren't the best out of the 2 teams in that game. But James Trafford saved them in that game. Saved them. Save after save. Fantastic by James Trafford. Burnley, they are missing the likes of Kolyosho. And I believe Lowell Foster is still unavailable going into this game. And overall, Burnley, those are 2 huge losses. They did get a point, but it still wasn't convincing enough. But they have looked good before that. And going against Everton, you know what? Everton are going to dominate this game. But because of home advantage for Burnley, because they need it so much, and I feel like they've still got a bit of quality in there, I'm going to go for a draw. And it's purely because I just feel like this is going to be a draw. I feel like Burnley need it so much. Everton will dominate, and I wouldn't be surprised for an Everton win. But I am going to go for a 1-1 draw come the final whistle. Moving on to the next game, it's actually a whole new day. It's the 17th of December. It is West Ham United at the mighty London Stadium, and they are facing Wolverhampton Wanderers. And well, West Ham United, I mean, what's going on? Losing 5-0 against Fulham. Was that a fluke? Because also Nottingham Forest lost 5-0 and then returned with a point against Wolves. You know what? I think it's not going to be any 5-0 losses in this game. It's not going to happen again. David Moyes is good enough to not let that happen back to back. And if it does, then I'm an idiot. But anyway, West Ham United, their defence was poor. They let Fulham easily make simple balls. It was poor defending. Defending was all over the place. I don't know what's going on there with West Ham. Bit concerning. But they still have quality in like James Ward-Prowse, Kudus, Bequeta, so on and so forth. And on the other hand, Wolves, they have been also performing well. I could see a draw, but I'm going to go West Ham purely because they won against Spurs and they have been good other than the Fulham game. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to West Ham United. Moving on to the next game, it's at the G-Tech Stadium. It's Brentford versus Aston Villa. And in my opinion, Aston Villa are the best team in the Premier League at the moment. They faced Arsenal, they beat them. They faced Manchester City, they beat them. And they're on form. They're doing fantastic. They're beating the likes of Man City and Arsenal. And they're in the title race. At the moment, they are in the title race. And Brentford, on the other hand, lost against last place Sheffield United. To be fair, Sheffield United did look different. But Brentford are missing a lot of players because of injuries and everything. And overall, 3 points in the last 5 games isn't fantastic. I don't think it's Thomas Frank's fault. I think he's a fantastic manager. I feel like Brentford are really well run. In this game, you could say a draw could happen because Bournemouth managed to get a draw against Aston Villa. And Aston Villa have a considerably worse away record than their home record. So, I could see a 1-1 draw, but because of Brentford with all these injuries and losing the last game, and Aston Villa looking so good, they're going to keep the form, not just at home, away. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 away win to Aston Villa. Moving on to the next game, it is Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium facing Brighton and Hove Albion. And while Brighton in the last game, they deserve 3 points. They were the better side when you compare them to Burnley. Definitely the better side, definitely deserve 3 points. And they're facing Arsenal, which, you know what? Arsenal played better against Aston Villa than Manchester City did. They were actually in the game, and I felt like they maybe deserved at least a point in that game against Aston Villa, but they didn't. And overall, Brighton looked good. They still look good despite making the most changes in the Premier League. You know, they've made loads of changes, constantly making changes, abundance of injuries on the top of injuries. Overall, at home, Arsenal are going to lose this game. Especially the fact that Brighton haven't, been definitely getting the wins, getting a lot of draws. And I'm going to go for a draw, purely because Brighton still look good in terms of how they play their football. Arsenal keep the results quite tight. And I feel like this is going to be a very exciting game to watch. And I think it's going to be a 4-goal thriller. And I'm going for a 2-2 draw come the final whistle. Moving on to the next game, it has to be game of the week. It is Liverpool at Anfield facing Manchester United. And well, Liverpool in the last game only just about won at 2-1 against Crystal Palace. And I felt like they could have done better. It was an amazing performance. It could be because it was away, and it was that 12:30 fixture, which they seem to get a lot. But here they're home, and they've got immaculate, a fantastic home record. And considering Manchester United playing terribly, yes, they played well against Chelsea, but they did not play well against Bournemouth, and they haven't been fantastic in terms of a whole in this season. So I'm obviously going to go for Liverpool. Home advantage. Liverpool are playing better. Liverpool on this title race. And Manchester United, that was a poor performance. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 Liverpool win come the final whistle. And well, how did I do it in Game Week 16 predictions? Well, overall, I did terrible. I got the same amount of points in Game Week 16 as I did in Game Week 15, which is not good. I got 3 points back-to-back out of the 20 possible points. No exact results. I only got 3 win, draw, lose results correct. And overall, that puts me on 97 points out of 320 points. I need to improve. My predictions have been terrible. I need to improve. That will be the end of my video. Hopefully you did enjoy the video. Hopefully you can like and subscribe. And always remember to turn on notifications. That is one of my fantastic YouTube videos. I'll see you next time. Toodle pip now.